Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Febryan Ardiansyah from the opposition team as a first speaker. At this time, the motion is this House will stop importing rice. According to me, I disagree with this motion. First of all, I would like to point out that rice imports are allowed by the government in the regulation of the Minister of Trade number 01/2018 about provision export and import rice. These things should be attention for all of us. Import rice means importing rice from abroad into the country. Importing is a natural thing. All countries definitely do import activities, especially rice. Rice is a main food that is needed by this nation. There is a slogan that says, if you don't eat rice, you are not feeling full. This shows that our nation can be free from rice. If we like rice stock, wouldn't imports be one of the solutions for this? So, I disagree with this motion to stop importing rice. Well, first of all, I would like to say the reason why I disagree with this motion. In fact, although Indonesia is the third largest rice producer in Asia, Indonesia is still importing rice almost every year to keep rice reserve available. If the farmers experiences crop failure due to the weather, there are still reserves of the imported rice. Farmers in Indonesia still use old methods that are not optimal in processing agriculture. This is still an obstacle and can cause crop failure, so that rice imports are very much needed. Ladies and gentlemen, the main problem is stop importing. We know that Indonesia is the #1 largest consumer of rice in the world. It is because our culture prioritizes eating rice, usually 3 times a day or even more, and also influenced by the population. Speaking of population, the total population in Indonesia is very large, which a total population of about 260 million people. Indonesia is the 4th most populous country in the world. Even this number will increase. Moreover, sometimes the price of local rice more expensive than the price of imported rice. So, if stop importing rice, the economy in the community will have problems, especially for the lower middle class. Speaking of stop importing, now during the COVID-19 pandemic like this, imported rice is used as social assistance during this pandemic if it continues. If we use local rice, of course, it will not be enough because rice is not harvested every day. Especially in Indonesia, the population is large. In addition to that, Indonesia's dependence on rice imports has been felt since economic crisis that happened in 1997-1998. It is impossible to stop importing rice because imports are part of the national economy. There are a few positive impacts from importing rice. There is sufficient stock of rice reserves. In this pandemic, rice stock must be allowed because it is used for social assistance and anticipates when farmers experience crop failure. Next, another positive impact that is maintain the stability of domestic rice price. One of the ways the government maintains rice price stability is by importing rice. The import was carried because the government's rice reserve position averaged only 340,000. This figure was below on the recommendation of the World Food Agency, which was 1.8 million tons. Vice President Yusuf Kala guarantees that rice imports will not disturb the selling price of local farmers. Because the focus of the rice imports is to protect against price spike. If domestic stock are limited, domestic rice price will also increase. So, importing rice is be a solution for these problems. In addition to that, importing also stimulates the agricultural sector in Indonesia to develop and be able to compete with the price of imported rice. Again, imports are the solution for this country so that farmers think ahead and use modern methods to support production. imports are more profitable because domestic production can be exported. This must be based on the assumption that the price of export foreign markets is higher than the price of imports that must be paid. The increase in imports does not reduce the price of domestic production, which means that if we import rice, we can actually sell local rice abroad, because local rice prices tend to be more expensive than the imported rice. So, this is more profitable for Indonesia. Importing rice also lightens the burden on society because import rice price is more cheaper than local rice. If some parts of Indonesia experience drought, of course, this will have an impact on farmers. The land will experience drought, so that farmers experience loss and the price of rice in the market will increase. All must feel the impact of this, especially the consumers. Again, to deal with this problem, the solution is to import rice. Finally, the conclusion about my argument that is, we cannot stop importing rice because import activities are under the government regulation. Rice import also have many positive impacts, such as maintaining the supply of rice reserves, cheap imported rice price, maintaining domestic rice price stability, and easing the burden on community, because imported rice prices are cheaper. Of course, rice import activity cannot be stopped. Well, that's my arguments. Thank you.